bum, bum, bum. How you doing?
What's up, dog?
Nothing. I was in the middle of watching the newest episode of Grand Tour
Oh, the
on
the
Amazon.
yeah the not actually the same show as before,
Yes,
but
but not
is.
Top Gear.
Yeah, it is, but it isn't.
Yes. Uh, I love that show so much. I love those guys.
Did
At least I love them on TV.
did
I
you
know.
see that Hammond? Is it Hammond that's selling a bunch of his car collection thingy?
Really?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I can't remember if I know I saw it somewhere.
I mean, it would make sense. He probably can't drive most of them now.
Why is
He's been
he?
in a lot of that.
Oh yeah, there's.
And the last one was pretty damn scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He ended up in the hospital for like a week or something, no, a couple weeks, a couple
Jesus.
months. I can't remember. That
There
was a
you go.
couple of years ago.
I sent it to you.
And we're also assuming that half of these cars aren't wrecked too.
The
So,
pictures they show are not wrecked.
I mean, those are the good ones that didn't get around to wrecking.
Yeah.
What's funny is they made fun of that in this episode. They did a lap around the track. Their cars that they picked for this episode are like old 1970s boat American, like, giant Buicks and Cadillacs, like the boatmobiles.
Yeah.
They actually made the joke. They were because they're driving around Scotland, which has very, very small streets. So driving those things around was fucking hilarious to watch. But they do a track. They do a lap around a track in Ireland. And did I say Scotland? I meant Ireland. And they actually make that joke. That this is the first time that he hasn't hit anything and wrecked a car going around a track. And then they panned the whole crew, and the whole crew is just like clapping.
Jesus.
And this is a show too that I forgot when they filmed it. Obviously, it's coming out right now. Apparently, it was at the beginning of the pandemic
Oh snap.
when they filmed it. Yeah. So part of the thing right now is that they can't have any hotels. They can't go to hotels or anything.
Oh yeah.
So they've been towing around fifth wheels, essentially,
Okay.
and of course wrecking them.
Well, I mean, duh. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't have that show without wrecking something
Mm-hmm.
or leaving a dead ass car in the middle of some weird tropical island that somehow has people on it.
Yeah. And they left two of their three trailers.
Of course they did.
Yeah, because Clarkson's just coming around a corner. Just the whole because like the old time, those old cars didn't have actual hitches on them, so they had to like mount hitches on them, but they didn't like weld them on. They just like vice gripped them on. So he's coming around a corner, and you just see his trailer just go whoop, and into the woods, and they stand there and they're like, "Well, we're just leaving that there." And then just I swear, probably like a couple football fields down the way, Hammonds gets like stuck in kind of a ditch, and so he goes to unhitch it because he can't get his car out of the ditch, and then the trailer just slowly just rocks over onto its side. Yeah, I'm only halfway through the episode. It's fucking hilarious. I love that show.
Fair enough.
Sparkling water. Did you know? I found this out today. That SodaStream makes a kombucha,
Wait,
right?
how is that
They
possible?
make so they make a. You can buy it at Fry's because I was on this weird thing where I found out that kombucha like helps settle your stomach,
Yeah.
and it's like all these other health benefits I knew about because of probiotics and stuff like that. And so I was looking for like what different types of kombucha that they have on at Fry's, and I ran across it's a concentrate. So it's like a bottle.
Okay.
It makes this one bottle makes 10 glasses. I think it said of kombucha.
Hmm.
But yeah, and it's legit SodaStream brand. It was weird.
Huh. What if there's a? Do you have to wait for it to gestate, or is it just?
No, it's like it's pre-made concentrate. So they probably make a batch and then they boil it out. They reduce it,
Yeah, concentrate it down. That's weird.
get more concentrated, and then you just your soda stream and just add it in, shake it up, and you got a kombucha. It was weird to me too because I didn't know that that's a thing that you would do.
Yeah, me either. That's strange. Speaking of strange,
Yeah,
comes naturally. We are.
Joe,
I am Cody.
that was strange.
I did it early. See, we actually did an intro. That's it, everybody, for this week's episode. I'm just
That's
kidding.
it. We're done.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So we here. I got news saved. And by the way, I figured out why everything wasn't saving to my computer from everything else.
You weren't signed in.
I was not signed in. Somehow, after whatever update it was a couple weeks ago, it signed me out of everything except for the computer.
That's weird.
And I wasn't paying attention when I opened up anything, because the only thing I use on my computer really that has a sign-in through Apple is news, because I don't use my computer for music. I have my phone for that.
Right.
And things like that. Games go through my phone, go through my iPad, but never really on here. And it was weird because I got a notification saying, hey, Angry Birds is available to download, because I did the thing on my phone, and it goes across anything that's available through iPad and on a computer. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Clicked on it and it says, hey, you have to sign in to use Arcade. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm signed in. I click on it. No, you weren't. And I was like, what? So I signed in. And it's like, hey, would you like to sign into all the other Apple services? I was like, why aren't I signed in?
Yes, I would love to sign into all the stuff I pay for.
Yeah, and then literally I went to, and it literally, I was like, I wonder, I went to the news, and all of my bookmarks started like blah, 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 changing. I was like, oh.
That explains that.
Yeah, so apparently I missed some kind of thing when I clicked on the news. I was never logged into it, so.
That's weird that,
I don't use any of the stuff on it. Like, I don't use like the magazine stuff, so I don't think the News Plus was ever actually activated on my computer or
Well,
like,
that's why
using
I
it.
paused, because I'm like, I think from day one that they launched news that I had the trial edition of, Apple stuff. So I always had it. And then I moved into, I bought Apple One and pretty much right when it came out. So it was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
So
So I just don't know what it would look like without a subscription. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, I don't either, because I mean from the Today page, the main one, it looks the same as it does before. The difference is as you scroll, you don't get the plus sections don't show up.
Oh, okay.
Like the stuff, hey, read this because you have magazines or you have this or whatever. Oh, Today News Plus, that's what it is. That just doesn't show up. Not that I paid attention enough, because apparently I never use it on my computer, because I'm usually on my phone or my iPad looking at the news.
Yeah.
But now it works fine, and I straightened my bookmarks out, and some of them were showing up again on my phone that I already removed, because the computer's like, hey, bro, you had these. And I was like, I don't want those anymore. Those are like 3 months old. But it's all good now. It works, and I figured out why.
That's good. Speaking of updates, are you having issues with your watch and unlocking it with your phone?
Mine actually, I need to go back and fix mine, because a while back, so when I got this watch, I was still at Microsoft, and because of their security protocols, I couldn't have my phone or my watch unlock the other.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't actually gone back to do that. Why, are you having issues with yours? I need to, but I haven't done it.
Yeah, so there's an update that literally just came out a couple days ago, but the previous update before that updated a lot of like notifications and stuff like that, and I noticed that it would take me like at least 2 tries sometimes to unlock my watch. I'd literally, I get up, I have my watch on, look at my phone, uh, pop it open, and that's all it used to take to get my watch unlocked. And I'd go on with my day, not even knowing that my watch wasn't unlocked. And then in the update that they released a couple days ago, they said, "Oh, we know, people were complaining that the watches weren't unlocking consistently, so we've patched that, we fixed it." No, you didn't. I'm still having an issue where I can literally have my watch on, locked, look at my phone, unlock it, and just sit there and be like, "You're not unlocking." Lock my phone, unlock it again, and then it unlocks. It's fucking annoying.
I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna see. Could not connect to Apple Watch.
But you're connected.
Yeah. Okay, well I can't even turn it on right now, so apparently that fix is not fixed. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, whatever. Also, that's weird.
What?
At the top it says turn passcode on, but my passcode is on.
That is weird. See, at the top, mine pulls down and it says unlocking, and it takes like forever now. And then it'll switch over to just a little button that says lock if I want to lock it. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll investigate that later. No, I didn't even know. I haven't gone back in to fix it since then, which is dumb, but whatever. But my watch will unlock my phone if my face is covered, so that's cool.
Yeah. And mine does too. But you kind of have to, or at least, I unlock my watch with my phone in the mornings. So if I'm having problems with that, yeah.
Interessante.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, some
Anywho.
real news. Apparently, Neil Blomkamp is working on District 10.
Yeah, I saw that actually. It was in my news thingy.
That's pretty much it. There's no exact idea of what the script is about. It's just kind of a vague idea that of what was it specifically? He says something about he had an idea of something. It's based around, or the story is taken from some sort of American history, a particular matter in American history. That's basically all that was said about it. There's no idea really when it's going to be released at all. This is just him actively writing it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because that movie is dope as shit.
Yeah. It's arguably one of his best movies, and it's obviously it was his first big movie.
I'm trying to find that other thing where he said he wants to buy that a setup like that they use on Mandalorian for Oats,
that'd be dope.
For Oats Studios.
What he would be able to do with that type of technology,
bro, dude. Like, it maybe. Oh, that was a thing that was mentioned in an article. I was trying to find if I had it saved here, but I think I deleted it because it was a couple weeks old. I wonder if he's done that, and that was just him talking about it, because it was also talking about where he won't tell you what he did to make Demonic, which is pure Blomkamp, for sure. And then what else he said? Oh, he said that he's excited that they have more Oat Studio stuff to come out early next year. And then something about one of the people that made a short for Oat Studio might be getting a deal to make an actual version of it, like a full-length version of it. But he didn't mention which one or who it was, so that's cool. I'm okay with it. Why did my phone
Thinking about which ones it could be, I want to say either, what was it? It was called Rack, I think. It was that weird alien one with the Vietnamish.
Oh yeah, the fucking crazy swamp one.
Yeah, fucking crazy swamp one, or or that other one that took place in the desert with the weird cult.
Oh, the not Adam. Is it Adam?
That kind of sounds right.
Yeah, it was like the robot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, the rest of them are really good. It's just like those were the only ones. There probably was there might have been one or two more that I'm just forgetting about. That you can actually put a story, more of a story behind.
Yeah, because a lot of them were just little short, weird shit, like the God ones with Sharlto Copley.
Yeah, or that weird like massive human flesh one.
Oh, the hands.
Yeah, it was really creepy and weird, and I don't think you could really make a movie out of that.
I mean, it could be a monster in the movie, but I don't know what the movie would be about other than a hand monster.
Unless you get the rights to that one video game. What was it called? It was a side-scroller game that you just kept running right, and eventually you turned into like a giant blob that you could just control, and it was just rolling over people. Fuck, what was the name of that game? You pulled legs out of a spider. It was all black and white. That might have been two different games, but it was black and white.
Okay. You're talking about Braid?
Nope, not Braid.
I was like, that's the only black and white one, but I don't remember turning into a blob in that game.
Braid wasn't black and white. That was color.
No, it wasn't.
Braid?
Yeah. Wasn't
the one with the time travel? Where you could like...
No, I guess it's not black and white. It's sepia tone for sure.
Yeah, that was still colorful.
What was the one? Actually, now I think I know what you're talking about. And it's not Braid I was just thinking about. I was thinking about, yep.
God, this is going to bug me, and I don't even know how to search for it. Game where you turn into a blob.
Yes. Google. Limbo.
Limbo, that's the game. Yeah.
I was like, no, it's that, because Braid also is side-scrolling thingies, but yes, Limbo, you only go right, and then yeah. And in my brain, that's the game I was picturing, but I was like, yeah, it's Braid, and then it's not the one. It's Limbo.
No, it wasn't Braid. Limbo. Yeah, that's what it was.
Halfway through typing on my phone in the Google machine, I was like, oh, no, it's Limbo. And I clicked on, I was like, Limbo, and it's like, hey, it's this game? I was like, that's the one.
That's the one.
That be the one I spoke of. Well, I'm kind of surprised you didn't bring this story up. I have it saved 3 times apparently.
That was all I had for this week, honestly.
Dan Trachtenberg's Predator movie is called Skull, and they're almost done shooting it. And it is loosely based, or not loosely based. The loose description of it is, it's the first encounter a predator had on Earth. So it's the first time a predator alien, the predator, had made it to Earth, and that's all we get so far.
When would that take place?
I do not know. So and I was trying to look it up earlier, and I was working, so I couldn't really look it up because I saw this article late last night, and then I was wanting to read more about it. And they're just like anything Dan Trachtenberg does, it's super tight-lipped. But I was looking, like, I didn't read this whole article, so I'm kind of briefly reading it while I'm talking, so I sound like I'm spaced out. But basically, there was this comic book, I think it was when Predator, the IP, was still at Dark Horse, that I want to say it was the origin, or the first time the Predator came to Earth, and it was right after man made the first transmission that went into space. I think it was what it was. And it wasn't because we had satellites. Somebody on Earth, and again, I don't know if it was actual real, because I don't know that information, but the story was based on this. This dude, I know what it was. It wasn't a signal. It was a telescope. They were using this new technology that was basically using irradiated light to try to bounce off objects in space and come back. And the aliens picked that up and thought it was a signal. It basically investigated and found out there's intelligent life on Earth. And it was like in the early 1900s, I think it was. And it came down and it like just started murdering everything in sight. I don't remember everything that happened in the story, but I think that was the first time the Predators came here, and they, at that point, I think they brought down a version of the xenomorph that they used to hunt on our planet, and that's what they did because they were like, using us as like, they infected a group of people with it and then hunted those creatures. And I tried to look it up earlier and I couldn't find it, so I might be making that all up, or I might be confusing some stories.
So,
but anyways,
what's interesting about that is you say the early 1900s. It has to be earlier than that, just because. Are we including AVP in? Is it part of canon?
No.
If it is, then
this one might be. But
they
I don't
found
know.
the pyramids.
Yeah.
The Aztec or Mayan or whatever it was pyramids that had that in it. That was literally that. So that would have had to have been built way earlier than the 1900s. I don't know exactly when, but way earlier than the 1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading through some of this on here from the Independent. Basically, that they started that the idea of this movie came about during the filming of Predator. The last movie was Predator, right?
The Predator.
The Predator. Yeah. Apparently, Dan had an idea with another writer. They approached John Davis, and he was like, "Yes, let's do this. Let's just start working on it." So they've been working on it since the middle of the filming of the last the Predator movie.
Yeah, in 2016, I think I saw, right?
I don't remember when that came out. But Davis says that this one is more akin to The Revenant.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous to think about, but
it's going to be really weird. Yeah.
So Leonardo DiCaprio is going to get raped by a predator. Or I mean, sorry, mauled. Sorry, I meant to say mauled.
By
that
a
means
predator.
rape.
Yes.
Mauled by a predator. Because Leo did not get raped by that bear.
I love a lot of the movies that Dan has done. Of course, I've been a fan of his since the Totally Rad Show days.
Totally Rad Show. Oh, sorry. It's been in work since 2017. Not. That's what I saw earlier.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty dope because Dan's cool.
And he's a fan of the material. That's what I like about a lot of the stuff that he gets attached to. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to make everything. Is that he's a fan of the material.
Yeah, at least this one we know we're getting. Because that's cool.
I just wonder because it just says another writer. Dan came to me with a writer, so I wonder who that other writer is and what he's done.
I believe it was the dude that co-wrote The Predator with Shane Black, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. The Predator. I'm Googling, so everyone knows what I'm doing.
This is me talking out loud.
Yeah. Fred Decker is his name. And he worked on lots of different things. He's worked on Night of the Creeps, The Monster Squad, of course written by Shane Black, Ricochet, RoboCop 3, he co-wrote with Frank Miller. He also directed that one. He directed RoboCop 3, so, not the best example of what he could do. But also, they made that movie for like $11, so it's not really his fault.
Oh, I found it right here. It's not Shane Black. Patrick Asen.
Oh, okay, so it's not, because I was thinking the other person that worked on The Predator is Fred Decker, so maybe it's not him. Good. Who is
this
it?
one has the same quote, but they actually put the writer.
Oh, that's
name
good.
in it, Patrick Eason.
That's good.
Which your fucking link didn't actually do me any good on that. I hate when articles do that. They link you only to their own website,
But do they?
their website's search, and it's like, well, that didn't help me at all because you just linked me to the same fucking article that I was looking at. Oh, he's producer on the Jack Ryan series. He produced Wayward Pines,
Holy shit! If this is right, that's gonna be gnarly.
Testosterone Kingdom. Those are his producing credits. Writing, Testosterone, Jack Ryan, Kingdom. Oh, okay, so he's written some of those episodes as well. And Legion. He was additional crew on the TV series Legion. Oh, consultant he's listed as. That's cool. So this guy sounds like he, might know a thing or two.
And what was his name?
Patrick Aison, Aison.
Okay, that is this one. So it says here, there's a little blurb on the Predator page on Wikipedia about Skull, TBA.
Okay.
It says producer John Davis said that the Predator would set up 2 sequels that he hoped Shane Black would return to direct. Obviously, the Predator didn't do so great, so that didn't really happen. I would love to say that we've been planning a trilogy, but I take one day at a time. In motion picture terms, that's one movie at a time. So with the sale of 20th Century Fox's assets, including 20th Century Fox Studios, to the Walt Disney Company, the future of the series was called into question, though Bob Iger confirmed that certain properties would remain rated R. Cool. In December 2019, Dan Trachtenberg was announced to be developing a film under the working title of Skulls, with a script from Patrick Aison set during the American Civil War and following a Comanche woman who goes against gender norms and traditions and become a warrior.
So that pretty much, we got a lot more information from that right there.
Yeah. And then it continues saying, in November 2020, it was revealed that the project will actually be a 5th film in the Predator franchise. Trachtenberg indicated that he had been working on the film since 2016. That's where I read that other one part. While the original intention was to market the project without any references to Predator, the Walt Disney Company will produce the project through their 20th Century Studios banner. In May 2021, Amber Midhunder, with a real weird name, had been cast in the lead role of Key in the film, Kee, so I guess it's pronounced Key, set to begin filming in June. Then set to provide creature-making efforts of an installment. Jeff Cutter is appointed the film's cinematographer in late July 2021. The official title of the film was revealed to be Skull, with filming nearing completion. So there we go. Set during the American Civil War, so not when we irradiated light to go out into space and come back with pictures. And then follows a Comanche woman who becomes a warrior and apparently has to fight a predator, which is fucking terrifying.
Which is fucking terrifying, pretty cool. I wonder then if well, first off, it from right there, it already sounds like they're ignoring all the AVP movies. They're wiping those from canon.
Because I think Shane made that comment before, where his movie, The Predator, was the 4th and only 4th movie in the franchise. So it went Predator, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and now Skull.
Okay.
So,
I'm down for that.
yeah, I'm okay
Then
with that too.
it makes me wonder, because I remember at the end of 2, Danny Glover's character is given an old pistol.
Yep.
Which I think was more of was like a Civil War style era pistol.
Yeah.
I wonder if that could link, if they could somehow end the movie linking that. That'd be dope. That's all I'm saying.
Can I find a picture of that gun?
Probably.
Predator.
Internet. You can find a picture of anything.
Predator
Rule 34.
2 gun, Danny Glover. Well, I don't know how to say Glover, apparently. No, I don't want his gun. I want to see the gun he was given.
Glover?
Yeah, I spelled it Glover. I don't know why.
That's what I just did too. Glober. Yeah, it says 1785 and 1715. Raphael A.D.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
How do you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Adolini?
Is it
Anyway, 1715.
Adolini?
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if you type that into the Google machine, does it actually pull up a real person?
That's a good question. Do it.
Why did the predator? Cody doesn't know how to do things with their. Oh, here we go. What does this say?
Dude, seriously, my Google skills are awful right now.
Yeah. Did you know when the elder predator handed Danny Glover the gun dating from 1715, writer Jim Thomas and John Thomas had conceived an idea for a possible Predator movie which would take place in a time where there are no modern weapons? Well,
So
that's interesting.
so someone had already thought of doing a prequel movie like this.
Yep.
So if it takes place during the American Civil War, that actually happened in 1861 to 1865. So it would be some, a while before that gun was made, or at least before that gun was
manufactured.
No, I'm trying to think of engraved.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
But they can always still change the time, the date, and stuff like that. I don't know. Or they can make reference to it.
Interesting.
I don't know.
You know what's a great movie? You know what's
What?
a great movie that everyone needs to watch again if they haven't seen it. Watch it. Last Mohicans.
It's a pretty decent movie.
I like that movie.
I think I've only seen it once.
That's a great gift. The guy's all coked out of his mind.
Hey, so
Yes.
speaking of things coked out of their mind, you watch the new? You've obviously watched the Ghostbusters trailer.
Fuck yeah, like 19 times.
Did you happen to watch the IGN interview with not Ivan Reitman, his kid, Jason Reitman? Yeah, it was with Jason Reitman.
Yeah, I did watch that.
And what was your thoughts on both things?
I'm so I was excited for the trailer for the movie before when we were supposed to see it last year, but I mean this trailer was so much fucking cooler. I thought so from the making of or I don't know whatever the burning questions answered by Jason Reitman thing I thought was coolest was they really wanted to have practical effects as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty dope because, like, obviously you want, and I thought a lot of the correlation stuff he's talking about, like, obviously, just like you and I, he grew up with Ghostbusters. Him having grown up with it a little more than you and I, because his dad made it.
Yeah, he lived it.
Yeah,
really.
And it was just cool for him to like kind of show like. I mean, I didn't catch all of the references in it as much as he pointed out. I caught a couple of them, but I thought it was just cool the way they almost used, like I don't want to say use the same shots, but use the same shot setup as a lot of it, like the Ecto 1 doing the burnout around the corner was the same. Right. The whole terror dog busting through the Walmart and the new one, the Walmart doors, and the fact that they like use reference from the OG to make it look like his movements when he was moving, and how it's like it's this weird mindless beast, but it's also like a predator, not to reference
Yeah.
the thing we were just talking about. And it was like it charges before it thinks type of thing. When like, you see him like crash through the line, he's getting ready to pounce again. And they did the same thing as soon as it comes out of the Walmart doors. It's like, where'd he go? And then he's like chasing after Ant-Man again. I thought the little things they showed, and he pointed out, because I said the same thing, when they showed the old beat up house, you see all the antennae and stuff. It's just pretty cool. I was like, oh, I'm super down for this. And when that little like teaser at the end of it, when they call the number from the commercial, and it goes back to Ray in his bookstore, cult store, and like, we're closed, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. That was pretty rad.
Yeah, that was all that was really rad. The antennas on the house thing he was saying was akin to the top of the Ecto One, where it was just like all the shit that they had on top of there. So you would think that Egon would have a lot of different stuff on the top of his house, you know, to be able to do experiments and whatnot. It seems like this is going to be a Gozer Returns movie. It seems like. You get flashes of literally the statues from the top of the Dana's building. I don't remember if they actually had a name to the building or not. They probably did.
They do.
You see a glimpse of Gozer. Obviously, you have the Terror Dogs. They had a name for them. I didn't realize that they actually had a name.
Yeah, they refer to the Terror Dogs, but it's the Gatekeeper and the Keymaster.
Yeah. But I mean, like, as a kid, like, watching that movie, I couldn't tell you what the name of those, like, to me, they were just, like, demon dogs. No, they're terror dogs. Like, oh, okay. You get, it's not Slimer that you get in this movie, too. They just say it is another Slimer-like character.
He gave it a name.
Yeah, they gave it a specific name, but it's just another, what was it, class something, free roaming apparition or something like that. And then going back and looking at it, it's like oh, they paused the picture and it's like, oh, it does look like Slimer, but it's not Slimer. Yeah. I thought it was funny, too, that they made a comment, because this really wasn't just about the trailer. He talked about
Muncher.
Munchers?
Yeah, Munchers is his name.
Yeah, so what was cool about this interview that they did is that it wasn't necessarily just about the trailer that they were viewing. It was really about... They got into some of the other history of Ghostbusters, and they talked about, at least with Slimer right there, he always thought it was weird and interesting how Slimer became kind of this, you know, the Dalmatian of the firehouse in the Ghostbusters cartoon series, when in all honesty, he was an angry, hungry ghost in the original movie, and so that's what they kind of go back to with this ghost. It's not Slimer that you see, it is another Slimer type apparition that you see.
Yeah, and the other thing too with the, I believe he called him a ghost miner in this one, was akin to the ghost taxi driver.
Which was really cool. It was funny that he said, in the original movie there's only like 3 ghosts or something like that, and you're like, okay, I guess you're kind of right. Yeah, I mean,
it was 4, but
a few more than that. But you really think about it. It's like, yeah, that's right. There really weren't that many ghosts in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, because really he brought him up. It was the library ghost, the taxi ghost, Slimer, and then the subway one. Yeah. Those were the only 4 you really saw. The rest were all just kind of... Because, I mean, there was the jogging dude. It was in there because I was trying to think of the other ones when he said that, and I was like, oh, but they really only showed...
that was during like the montage that they were doing in the Ghostbusters, and even then, you're right, like they had the runner ghost.
Yep.
But they didn't really do, even in that little montage, there really wasn't any other ghosts in there.
It was just the beams and stuff, and like, whatever. Yeah, no, that trailer was dope as balls, and I'm super excited for that movie.
So fucking excited. There was something else I was going to mention about it too, and now I can't remember what it was.
How the fact that Annie Potts' character, Janine, isn't actually married to Egon.
Yeah, so that was weird. That's the way I took it from from the movie. Even from watching this thing, he never mentions that they're married at any point in time. It's just that I think actually in the interview he just says that it was cool to get her and others along, in order to bring those people back from the movies. And I took it as that. There were other people I was reading online that were like, oh, they married and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where did you get that? It sounds like she was just checking up on him every once in a while.
Yeah, she even said, Jason Reitman said in that thing that they were like, he was, she never really let go of that romantic feelings, and so they kept in touch over the years. And
yeah,
I was like, well, clearly he had a kid.
Clearly with somebody.
And it wasn't with Janine, so who was it?
Yeah.
I was trying to see. Yeah, because it just lists Callie as single mother and daughter of the late Dr. Egon Spengler. Is the list of I was looking at for his daughter's name, but she doesn't have a last name, so don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be Spengler because her dad was Egon Spengler, but
yeah. What will be interesting about it too is that the original thought that I at least had going into the first trailer is that you see what looks to be the containment unit essentially breaching and releasing all the ghosts. Now that could be still something happening, but you do remember that they never actually captured Gozer in the first movie. They just reversed the polarity on the door and forced it back through the door.
Yes.
So if that is really the return of Gozer, and this isn't just like something else, like she's not she, he, or whatever it is, isn't just another thing, then what else, what else would it be, or what brings about the coming of Gozer again?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Well, I mean, because I literally minutes, like, you beat me to posting it to the group chat like seconds before I hit enter, like send. I literally had it copied and pasted into the thing, and it pops up, and I was like, this motherfucker.
That's your failing, is that you copied and paste. I just go share.
Oh, well.
Type in the share with that, whoever it is, who's ever the group that pulls up first that starts with the. It's just,
I don't even know if it's them. Someone get it.
I shared it with someone.
I was first, yeah. And it's funny because, like, I saw the trailer pop up, and I was like, oh, I'm going to send it to the guys. And then I was taking a break from, not working. And I was like, oh, I'll send it now. Dun, 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 dun. And then, boom, I was like, this piece of shit beat me to it.
I could have sent it earlier, too, because I was halfway through my second watching of it when I was like, I should probably share this.
Yeah, because it popped up, and I watched it, but I was like, oh, the guys aren't awake yet. I'll just wait. And then I forgot, like, Joe's also up at the crack of dawn, so he could have been that, but whatever. Yeah. I'm not mad about it, but, I'm super angry. No, I was going to say is, it's interesting because in that they show glimpses of what looks to be the Gozer Temple, as if I'm not mistaken, they call it. So I'm wondering if somehow Egon had somehow got the whatever it was on the top of that building that allowed the temple to come across into our domain. I wonder if he had it somehow relocated to the Midwest, Indiana, is that what he said it was from, where they're at? Wherever it was that they went to. I know they made up the town name, and I can't remember what it says. Anyways, so I'm wondering if he has somehow, over the years, thought, we need to protect this because it's like, like one of the ways, like any good ghost hunter.
That's literally your quote unquote real life analogy to that, or analogous thing to that would be the Ed and Lorraine Warren of The Conjuring.
Yeah.
That they have a place where they take the possessed or demonic or whatever it is items out of the area and keep them safely locked away. So the idea of a Ghostbuster saying, we've may have busted the ghost, but let's remove the item from the area and lock it away safely and hopefully keep it safe. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah. Because you could also have the painting. Well, now it's a painting of the 4 Ghostbusters.
Right? Because it wouldn't be that thing anymore. So what would that museum need it for? So they just
because the painting itself was turned into them with Oscar.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if maybe that painting's in the house.
Like if we just have totally glossed over it, it's just in there somewhere. You've already seen it.
Yeah, like you saw an edge of it or something. You didn't pay attention. Like it didn't show it full on yet. But when they go into the house during the movie,
yes, I'm gonna have to go watch the trailers again. Oh no!
Oh, okay.
I do remember the thing that I was going to mention. It was pointed out by Jason Reitman that Dan Aykroyd's tattoo is the saying from Ghostbusters 1. You know, where him and
Winston Zeddemore
are in the Ecto-1 traveling down the street, and they're like, you know, doesn't it seem like it's the end of the world? And it's that Bible verse that he has tattooed on the inside of his arm right there. So I thought that was a cool detail. It was too blurry to see and make it out in the trailer, but once it's pointed out, I was like, well, that's a really dope detail that you got there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Pretty dope. Plus the fact it's back to Ray's occult shop that he had in 2?
In the second. Yeah,
in
that's
the second one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty rad. Yeah,
How many weeks away are we away from that? Because it's next month, isn't it? Like
no,
it's not.
No, it's in October. Hold on.
Is it October?
I just had it pulled up here. Hold on a second. That is the wrong one, Cody. You do not how to work the things. November 11th.
November 11th. That's right. It said this Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Demonic, on the other hand, I believe comes out next month.
Well, that's cool.
The Neil Blomkamp movie that we sort of talked about a while back. And mentioned not too long ago on this here podcast. I want to say Elysium is not the one. You need to learn how to click on buttons. I'm really bad with clicking stuff today, I'll tell you right now. Earlier I was trying to read an article. I was like, oh, I'm going to click on that to see what they're talking about. And then just jumped right to something else. I was like, you know what? How about you go fuck yourselves? How's that?
Right.
Yes, I know people have already seen it in March of this year. I'm not one of those people. Release August 20th. Oh shit. Ooh, it's actually getting a theater release.
That's cool.
I thought it was video on demand. I must have read that wrong in the trailer. So it'll release in theaters on August 20th, and then a week later, it'll be on video on demand. Oh, I'm seeing that shit in the theater for show, dog. Take my monies. Take my monies. Oh no.
Oh no, what? You'll be gone.
No, that's the week. No, that's the week after I get back. Oh my god, I was about to panic. Oh my god, I almost freaked out. I was like, I don't have to see this by myself in Minnesota. No. I'll be here. I'll be back. That's the week after I get back. Whew. I panicked for a second there. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Joe's going to go see it without me, with his other friends?
Yeah, I can see it with Paige.
There you go. That's another friend of yours.
Another friend of mine.
What else did I have on here? Galaxy Quest TV series is happening with Simon Pegg at Amazon.
That's dope. I love that show, that movie.
I love that movie so much. Amazon also signed a deal with Scott Snyder for creator-focused comic books.
Yes, I saw that. That sounds incredibly dope.
Yeah, and it's cool too.
I don't know what it means, but yeah.
So basically, the deal about it is they'll launch them exclusively through Comixology, as well as digitally through Amazon, and then I think they said like a month or so later they're gonna put them in print form through Dark Horse.
Ah.
So you'll be able to get them either way, how you ever want to consume your comic books, either digitally or physically. but it'll be printed through Dark Horse, which basically means eventually Amazon's probably going to buy Dark Horse Comics because that's how they roll. Probably not really.
Why not?
I mean, maybe have they bought a? I mean, they bought a movie studio.
Well, they technically do. I mean, because Comicsology has their own studio, and they've had like Jeff Lemire and some other.
Yeah, do digital
artists,
stuff, but have they done physical stuff? Only,
but as far as physical stuff, no, I don't think they have. I just think they've gone. Yeah, no.
I think it's just digital. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's see. Netflix announced Sweet Tooth Season 2.
Sold. Can I have it now?
Nope. It's on its way. Let's see. First look at Hawkeye and release date of the television program on Disney Plus will come out November 24th of this year. It'll be on Wednesday, of course, because that's their new announcement. All their new stuff will be on Wednesdays.
Fair enough. Can I have Loki Season 2 now?
No, Joe, calm down. Slow your roll, bud. And they show a picture of Hawkeye meeting Kate Bishop for the first time. And for some reason, there's Christmas lights up. So I don't know what that's about, but it's pretty cool because it's actually a sort of like she already has a bow and she's shooting arrows at the thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's akin to this scene from a comic book where Loki." You got me thinking of Loki. Hawkeye was like seen shooting arrows accurately at targets, or I don't remember what it was, but whatever. So that's got a date. That's pretty cool. Why do I have that saved twice? Oh, because that's the one that had the picture on it. I think that's all. Oh yeah, and this one was actually from a couple weeks ago. We never actually talked about, and we're running close to our time, anyways. But Something is Killing the Children comic book is being adapted by Mike Flanagan of fame of a couple different things: Bly Manor, Haunting of Hill House, Doctor Sleep, amongst other things. So he's actually doing a comic book adaptation now.
That's the Hill House? It's one of the Hill House books?
No, it's a comic book.
I know, no, what? Yeah, but that's one of Joe Hill's. That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, no. Something is Killing the Children is a book from... Ooh, that's a great question. Is that one...
Because I remember seeing it. I remember seeing a cover of it. I thought it was one of because there's a lot of different comics under the Joe Hill House.
The Hill House books, yeah.
Banner.
Trying to remember what this. So it's one of James Tynion's books, Boom Studios.
Boom Studios.
Yeah, I was like, it's not DC's imprint for Joe Hill House Comics. It is a different one, but yeah, it's pretty cool because Mike Flanagan's a big fan of horror, and that book is kind of fucked up. So that's cool. Oh no! Oh, I thought I closed my news thing. So I thought it was pretty cool because like you and I are fans of Mike Flanagan's work.
Definitely.
Because he's rad. So yeah, that's that. I think that's all I had. Check. I've been unsaving them as I go through so I don't repeat on there. But I keep saving the same story from different places. Like I had the Galaxy Quest one on here like twice.
Well, some articles give you different information.
It's true. I have the Hawkeye ones from two different places. One from comicbook.com, another from Entertainment Weekly.
Others you just impulsively go, oh, I'll read that later, and totally forget about it. And then when I come on here, I go, oh shit, I forgot to reread that article. It actually has nothing to do with this here. It was just something I wanted to personally read, and I totally forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had to talk about.
That's all I had to say. You want to dedicate the last couple of minutes to finally talking about Loki?
Sure.
Right?
I like that show.
That last episode, that was
So hear me out for a second, okay? So we don't know, technically, we don't know when the multiverse, as we know now, exists, right?
Right.
So early on in the show, knowing a couple things. One is the comic books have multiverses to spare.
Mm-hmm.
We never really divulge into too many, other than they kind of pull like Into the Spider-Verse was based on a comic book series or a comic story arc where there was a bunch of different Peter Parker or Spider-Men, technically, because not all Peter Parkers or Spider-Ham and stuff like that. And Peter Porker is his name in his world. And obviously turned into a very successful animated feature film that won an Oscar and all that fun stuff. So we know there's lots of in there. And then knowing the future of the Marvel Universe, we know that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness happens to be about that. We know that Kang, now Jonathan Majors playing Kang, Kang the Conqueror, is going to be the main villain in Ant-Man and Wasp, the Quantum Mania. Is that what it's called?
I don't remember.
Anyways, in the Ant-Man 3, or Ant-Man and Wasp 2, I don't know how you put that. But I know he's going to be the main villain in that one, where he's actually going to be Kang the Conqueror. They've already told us that. So that's pretty cool. Then there's so what I'm getting at is earlier on the show, we were told by the lying sack of shit that is the TVA that there are no multiverses, and that there's a single solitary timeline that they protect.
The sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline. I called bullshit early on, said no. I think I told you this too, I think that whoever's in charge, which at the time nobody really thought of Kang, then later on there was theories and reason why, I thought he just isolated a timeline and then started the TVA and saying, hey, keep all branches in and out of this. Don't let this go anywhere, and don't let nothing come in. That was my theory. I think that theory is shot down by the final episode. But my question is, and I haven't seen anybody talking about it, is when exactly does that branching of the timeline happen? When Sylvie kills, air quotes, kills whatever variant version of Kang that is. Because Kang could be a variant of that person from the 31st century. And obviously he created the time travel ability to go back, but also forward to the end of time, which is, as we know, is not really like the end of time, because time doesn't really, it doesn't matter. So my thing is, we don't know, because clearly they let us know that there are multiverses, because Sylvie's pulled from one, and if she's pulled at a young age and that part of it is eradicated, how is there another Loki ever if there's no other multiverses? So I think that was a lie. But my question is, when does that branching in this sacred timeline when does it happen? Like, when does it branch out? Is it always? Is it splinter backwards? Does it go only forward? And when does that forward point start? You know what I mean? Because the Loki we follow, the variant, is from a time that technically was a offshoot, because they go back to steal the Infinity Stones before they're Infinity Stones, obviously. He grabs the Tesseract, pops out of time, goes somewhere else, because we know it's the Time Stone. We know it's the Mind Stone, but the Tesseract lets him do the things, right? He pops out, goes to Mongolian, whatever, right? But then he's brought to the TVA, which is outside of time. Time works differently here, right? Bunch of bullshit. So when do those... Because Kang says this is the end of time, but we can see that the time is not... It's just flowing, right? Like, it's going. So when is that time, and when does the multiverse start in the MCU? Is my question.
It's a very good question that you have. Something I never even thought about until you put it to words. That the show itself actually contradicts itself.
Yes.
Because there are multiple Lokis.
Yes.
And there are Lokis that are not even human.
Yes.
you have older Lokis as well, which means
Yes.
that their timeline would have had to progress far enough, been allowed to progress far enough, period. So, yeah, it's a very from a simplistic standpoint of when does it start once Kang's killed, I would say that it starts immediately and in the past. So it's always happening type of thing.
So that's my thing. Are we seeing, because he's talking about the sacred timeline being, and he's outside of time watching it. So when it branches off and it branches,
And you're seeing it branch off in real time with Loki.
yep. When is that in the MCU? Is that current? Is it modern time? Is it not even then? Is it way in the past? And that's why we have the variance?
I literally think that it could be all time. Period.
Okay.
So it starts. It's literally the idea that obviously every single decision that you make could branch off into a different timeline because another different person of you chose the other way, or
Yeah.
the flip of a coin went the opposite direction. So it's all of the decisions ever throughout time have suddenly now have been allowed to have their own branching.
Yes, that's what I mean. Is like there's a lot of questions, and I don't think we're gonna get answers for all of them. But like I'm wondering,
the wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff with the MCU has always been very flexible and doesn't make sense. I mean, if you really think about the whole time travel with the Infinity Stones and stuff like that, didn't really actually make sense. But they never really explained it either. So if you don't explain it, you don't really have to have it make sense, really.
yeah, because like in there, like, and I said this to Paige, and she looked at me glossy-eyed. But when you think about what happened in Endgame, right? They go back, they get the Infinity Stones from the point where they know they can get them, right?
Yes.
Like not when like Thanos doesn't already have them. They walk up and go, "I'm gonna steal the glove." Boom. And obviously, they didn't work for them the first time because he won that round. And then later, Thor chopped his head off and blah blah. But so when they go back, technically speaking, they're going back in their own timeline, right? Cool. That's a loop. We go back there, and we take those from that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That technically should make an alternate timeline.
Every single stone that you take would create an alternate timeline because that time would continue to move on, and someone would recognize that the stones are gone.
So, to the Ancient One's point, if you don't go back and put the stone back where you got it before you took it, then that branch would continue on. But if you went back before that branch could go, what the TVA said when they eradicated timeline, or whatever the choice was with the variant made.
Put the stones back so that timeline never occurs.
Exactly, right? So like Cap takes this stone, then Cap comes back and puts that stone right back before he took it. You know what I mean? Like right as he took it. So that moment never changes. Like that nothing ever diverts. Because like if you go back and think of where the time stone or the Tesseract came from, they were stealing it right there from the end of Avengers 1, which means it never would have gone anywhere. So the like Loki or Thor's people would have taken it with them and got it to where he stole it from at Asgard, right? No, that's when they would visit that's when they went to see the Collector, which led into Guardians of the Galaxy. So Thanos never would have had the chance to get it there because it wouldn't have been there, and so on and so forth, right? So that timeline shifts. The Guardians at that point, by the way, would have never come together.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about that, that's fucking crazy, right? But Cap did go back and he put the stones back right so that we'll just say the sacred timeline, right? Because Loki brought that up to the TVA, said, hey, the Avengers have done shit, right? He doesn't know that what they've done yet because he hasn't witnessed it yet. He just knows that the Avengers have done tons of shit that they probably shouldn't have been doing. And he knows for a fact he's also done that shit because, well, it's Loki. And I don't know. Obviously, we saw him witnessing his transformation as a character in the room, and then obviously watching his death, which made him go, well, I've made some mistakes, because that big purple guy, I shouldn't have tried to knife, because he went real quick, actually slow if you think about it, like snap, that was painful. So we know that certain events didn't happen, but that, again, this is my point where I think the TVA was lying to everybody, because even Kang, whatever you want to call him, the one who remains, or the one who remains, what do they call it? He who remains. He even said that he was able to kill off all the branches that he discovered, right? Mm-hmm. And he created the TVA on that one, but he discovered the multiverse, right? So did he go all the way back in time before anybody made any choice whatsoever at the beginning of time? And is that where he starts pruning off all the choices, right? So so we'll just go back, we'll just use biblical terms, Adam and Eve, right? What if so in that choice, right, the main choice, everyone always talks about the choice, to eat the apple, not to eat the apple of knowledge, right? So technically speaking, there could be a version of her that says, I don't want it, right? And so the world would go differently, right? So he would have to go back to the very first time anything made a decision, and then pruned off any other variant that could possibly go, right? Because if you think, like, so you have to make a choice. I want either a red apple or a green apple, right? In your brain's like, oh, well, if I get a red apple, it's sweeter. If I get a green apple, it's a little more tart. That just creates a multiverse, right? Because there's two different chances. I would pick red or I would pick green, right?
Yes.
So he would literally have to go back before anything made a decision. Start pruning right off the tree, right? So there's only one. I still stand to believe my theory is correct. He picked his timeline and went back, and he only pruned his timeline, his multiverse, and stopped all the other ones, including himself, from discovering them and reaching out to him, because he said he discovered that there was other ones stacked on top, which then contradicts what they told us, saying that this is the sacred timeline. So I think the whole thing's bullshit, and the only thing the TVA was doing, and I think that goes back to the big reveal at the end of the episode with Loki, is when Sylvie kicks his ass through the time door, he goes back, because again, she hasn't made that decision yet to kill Kang, right? I mean, in the background you can see it starting to do its thing, right? So whatever decision was made, the timeline started to branch. If she doesn't kill him, or if she kills him and takes his place and starts pruning the timelines, it would continue back to one, right? She doesn't, clearly. She lets it fracture and it goes on. She kicks him through a door, he goes back, and we're automatically in a different multiverse, where what people didn't understand is it didn't change what happened. He's literally in a different multiverse, because the statue of Kang, which is clearly what that is, because he had the collar and he looked very regal, there wasn't the timekeepers, the three of them. It was just one. And when you look at Mobius, his tie's not messed up, and he's talking to I can't remember her number, but they're talking like, oh, it was his decision, right? Because now Loki isn't in his time, he's in a different one. And for some reason, Mobius thinks that Loki is an analyst. So he clearly, I don't think people understand that when he goes back to the time door, he didn't go back to his Mobius because of what,
to a different one, and that would explain why Mobius, this one didn't have a Loki, so that would explain why he doesn't know who Loki is.
Yes, he thinks he's just another analyst because he sees his outfit and says that's an analyst outfit, like mine, but a little different. And you realize they're talking about someone not controlling the timelines, right? And they say what does he say? What does he think? What is he doing about this, right? because that's a different TVA. And I think
it makes sense because a lot of people tried to say that was like a flub that
no.
they did, but it would make sense that if he's in a different timeline, where Loki didn't exist or was not such a huge figure within the timeline, that Mobius, because the Mobius that we knew had made reference to the fact that he knows Lokis. He's captured Lokis. So Loki in the main timeline or our sacred timeline is a big character, but the Loki, if there is one in this timeline, is not. So Mobius has no idea what he looks like or who he is.
And the craziest part about this is, right, and this will end it because I could talk on for like this for hours,
yes.
And I have, and we will. The crazy part about this is the Loki that we have, the variant, what do you want to call him? The Loki we're following in this show is not the one killed by Thanos.
Right.
So the main,
he got pulled out.
Thank you, because of what he did, the action he did, he was a different choice. So when they prune that choice, right? Like you didn't make that choice. You're still captured by the Avengers. You're brought back to Asgard to be in a prison where then you fucking, your mom gets killed because blah, 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 right? That still goes on. That Loki continues on. That Loki fakes his own death. That Loki comes back as fake Odin and then is killed at the beginning of Infinity War, right? So that Loki in this, we'll call it the 616 because that's what they call it in the comic book series or the comics, the main timeline, that Loki's dead. The Loki we have is a variant from a multiverse, which proves the fact that there was already multiverses and they lied to us at the beginning of the show. And to my point, my theory is this: as soon as Kang says, this is where I don't know what's going to happen, because at that point in his timeline, he ceased to exist because he's from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And if he dies there, that version doesn't know what's happening because he already knows he's going to die. The difference is, will Sylvie take his place and continue his work, or will she just let chaos reign? And when does that chaos reign? I think, and I have to go back and watch it, I think he says it, this is where time begins and ends. Which is I believe is a reference to Jules Verne, I think, where he says the inherent problem with time travel is, as soon as you travel through time, forward or backwards, you're no longer in the time you came from. And I think that's literally him telling us, hey, bro, as soon as I don't know what's happening in this timeline, shit is in the future, because he's from the 31st century, which means eventually they're going to get to him and all his variants will be in their versions, because they're in a place where time begins and ends. Any choice they make there, just like she did, not in killing him and dissolving what he knows is the TVA in his timeline, that timeline starts to branch from the beginning. So there always will be multiverses. And it goes back, so when she kicks him through the time door, he shows up in a different multiverse, because from the beginning of time, there was always multiverses.
It would make sense.
That's my theory. Could I be right? Probably fucking not, because I don't write these things.
Right.
But, man, did it answer so many questions, though. And I think I brought this up to you last week. We were talking, obviously not on the podcast, because we haven't talked about Loki at all in this. It would make sense why little things have changed in what we perceive to be the main timeline. And I read an article, and I couldn't find it again because it was off of, I think, Reddit, where some guy said, this makes perfect sense, and he pinpoints one scene from the Shang-Chi trailer. And it's the fact that Abomination looks different than he did in the Edward Norton Hulk movie.
Right.
And here's the kicker. This is what makes sense now that Loki's over with. The Abomination we see fighting Wong in Shang-Chi is our main timeline's Abomination, the one that would have eventually in history in that timeline fought Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, not Edward Norton's Hulk, because that's a different multiverse. Even though it had a Tony Stark and even had a Thunderbolt Ross.
But because we never carried Edward Norton over, it's a different timeline.
Yes! Isn't that so smart?
It solves a lot of problems. It does.
Here's another kicker. That's why in WandaVision, they were able to pull what's-his-face over to be Quicksilver, and she says she recasted him. This is what's nuts, right? She doesn't realize she's a Nexus being, which means she's the same in all timelines, but nobody else
she
is.
Would know her brother from a different timeline.
Boom! That's why she had no problem with it, but she was shocked to see he was alive, not that he was someone else. And we all look at it and say, that's not Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Right.
That's Evan Peters. Nah, bitch. Different fucking multiverse, because she sees all of it. That's why she's looking for her kids, because now she knows there's a timeline and a multiverse where she does have those kids. Blew my mind, dude. Then I was like, Spider-Man coming out, have different Spider-Men? And I tried to explain it to Paige the best way I could. And the fact of this, the reason different Peter Parkers look different is because at one point, someone else married someone else to make that Peter Parker, but that Peter Parker still made it to be Spider-Man. Does that make sense? So at one point...
It's a thing that always has to happen.
Exactly.
No matter what the past is, there's another show that would call that, what was it? It was like a Nexus event or something like that. It was a thing, it was a singularity that always had to happen.
Yeah, so there's always going to be a Spider-Man. It just happens to be that all three of these Spider-Mans that we deal with in the new Spider-Man movie, if it's actually true, happen to be Peter Parker. But yes, they look physically different. You have Tobey Maguire, you have Andrew Garfield, and you have Tom Holland, right? But at one point in their universe, someone down their family tree had sex with a different person, which made their traits look different. I was like, okay, all right. We can do anything we fucking want. It explains the X-Men. It explains even goes back in, I thought of this, I don't know, the article didn't talk about it. It even goes back and explains why in the Fox atrocious X-Men series, there's multiple versions of different X-Men in different times, because multiverse.
That's how you explain Deadpool too. I mean,
exactly, dude. It's so crazy. So crazy. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's two different Deadpools. Now we know why.
Yeah.
Because at one point, they diverged on how he was going to get made. He became Deadpool still, and it was still Wade, but it was a different way Wade got to where he was at. Mind blown. I was like, that's fucking genius. Whoever thought of this, that motherfucker needs a raise. Unless it's Kevin Feige, and that guy already has enough money.
He already makes a lot of money.
Okay, that's it. I'm done ranting. We'll talk more about it another time.
All right. Sounds good.
So we gonna end this. Comes naturally. We have been Joe. I'm Cody. That's it for this week's episode, everybody. As usual, you fuckers just came naturally.